I sort of set up my classes to where I start the music when we start moving. So at the beginning, when we're breathing, I usually have it silent. So the playlist is about 55-ish minutes. But I will remind anybody who wants when the music will start. All right, so let's get started. I just thought we would settle in at first. I've been practicing at home this whole time, and I know that it's such a different experience transitioning to yoga when you're at your house as opposed to at a studio where we walk in and all of our senses we have this visceral like response that we know it's time for yoga, and at home that can be difficult. So if you feel comfortable bringing your eyes to close and just kind of start to tune into your body. Notice if anywhere is tight. Maybe check in with your jaw, your shoulders. You might even scrunch your shoulders up towards your ears and then let them relax. You might make fists with your hands and release. And let's all take a big breath in and then exhale. And just begin to notice your breath. Notice the speed at which you're breathing. Without trying to alter it, just noticing. And notice how much your lungs are filling up. Are you taking shallow breaths? Are you taking deeper breaths? Is it somewhere in between? Probably for most of us, it's somewhere in between. And now we're going to begin to just deepen our breaths a bit. So taking a nice big inhale and seeing if you can fill up your lungs, filling up all those capillaries, bringing all the oxygen into your rib cage, and then release, letting it all out. And again, in nice big inhale and release. And now see if you can pay attention to the sounds. You might have sounds inside of your house or outside, maybe traffic or the raindrops. See what you can notice. And then see if you can find the stillness underneath that noise. The stillness that exists in between our breaths. Those little tiny pauses between the inhale and the exhale. See if you can notice those. And if you like to set an intention for your practice, now is a great time to do that. And it can be as simple as, I will follow my breath, I will move my breath. Or it can be elaborate as you want it to be. And from here, we'll bring our eyes to open and we'll move into tabletop position on all fours. Just beginning to move this evening, making your way through some cat-cow poses. So dropping your belly on the inhale and on the exhale, curving your spine, tucking the chin, moving with your breath. If there's one thing I want us all to do tonight, it's to move with our breath. Yeah, and you might add in different movements You may look over each shoulder towards both of your hips. You may turn your fingertips towards your knees, giving those wrists a nice stretch. Our poor wrists and hands these days, we're on computers all the time and texting. They might need the stretch. Oh, and if you wanted to start the playlist now would be a good time. And just be in your body right now, moving with these cat-cows. Tune into your back muscles, your lower back, your neck. We'll move through a few more of these with your breath. All right. Then from here, we're going to meet in a neutral spine. So on all fours, wrists under shoulders, hips over knees. And we're going to reach up with the right hand and then thread the needle under the left shoulder, coming onto the right shoulder. You might stretch your left arm long. You might stretch your left leg long. This is my favorite pose to warm up. Again, tuning into your breath, paying attention to your back rising and falling with the inhales and the exhales. And then from here, we're going to unwind, reaching up with that right arm, bringing that right hand back down to the mat, coming back to neutral, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And we'll switch sides. So the left hand peels off the mat, nice opening in the heart center, and then left hand underneath the right shoulder, coming onto the left shoulder, threading the needle on this side. All right, one more inhale. Then on the exhale, we're going to open up, unwind, lifting the left hand up, finding a neutral spine again, tabletop position. From here, we're going to tuck the right toes under, and you're going to slide your right leg straight. So you still have a nice neutral spine. And then using your glutes and your hamstrings, you're going to lift that right leg up so that it's even with your back. And then from here, you're going to lift your left hand, reaching out in front of you like you're going to shake somebody's hand. So your thumb is up toward the ceiling. You have a nice long neck, so you're looking down towards your mat. And you're going to push through that back heel, nice, strong, lifted right leg, reaching forward with the left hand. We're just waking up our core a little bit here. One more inhale. Exhale, release, neutral spine. You might cat-cow here to sort of find neutral again. Just for a couple breaths. And then we'll meet in neutral. All right, and then from here we tuck the left toes, slide that left foot back, straightening out the left leg. Using that glute muscle and the left hamstring, lift the leg. And then we lift the right arm, reaching forward. So pushing back through that left heel, right fingertips. It's like your right fingertips and your left heel want to get as far away from each other as possible. Nice and long. Coming back to your breath. One more inhale, reach. Exhale, back to neutral. And we're gonna bring our toes to touch. Seat back to the heels, child's pose. So feeling your forehead on the mat. You might even move your forehead back and forth, giving it a little massage. Reaching with those fingertips. Seat reaching back towards the heels. Nice long spine. It's like you're giving the little vertebrae a little bit more room. That's not physically really what's happening, but it feels like it. Couple more breaths here. And then we're gonna meet in downward facing dog. So however you wanna get there, if you'd like to come through tabletop and then lift your hips, that's a great way to go. If you just wanna step back. So in your down dog, this is our home base tonight. Your hips are lifting up towards the ceiling. Your hands are almost pushing the mat away, and your heels are making their way towards the mat. They do not have to touch. Nice long spine again. You're stretching out those spaces in between the vertebrae. Nice heavy head. You might bend each knee, pedal out your legs. All right, then we're gonna walk to the top of the mat. We're gonna do some sun A's. So I'm gonna face you wrong ways on my mat, but that's okay. All right, so top of the mat, forward fold. On your next inhale, we're gonna reach up all the way. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, we're gonna fold forward through hands through heart center, or you can swan dive down. On your inhale, we're gonna halfway lift. So hands to shins or thighs, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root the feet down, reach up with the hands. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, strong back. So shoulder blades reaching towards each other. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. You might look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And then let's meet in a mountain pose before we start sun B. So shoulder blades down your back, hips over the heels, shoulders over the hips, head over the shoulders. Rooting down through your feet, like you're growing roots like a tree. Then we're gonna reach up, inhale. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, we're gonna plant the palms. We're gonna step into our first high plank. So we're gonna set up our high plank here. Our shoulders are over our wrists. Belly button is moving in towards the spine. And with your back, that area in between your shoulder blades, think of it as pushing up your shirt. You want to push through that spot on your back in between your shoulder blades. So it's like it's pushing your shirt up towards the ceiling. We're reaching through the heels, and then we're going to slowly lower all the way to the mat. From here, you're going to place your hands by your chest and find a baby cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes, lift the hips either through tabletop or straight up to downward facing dog. We'll take 2 breaths here. Inhale, lift the heels, walk to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, strong back. Exhale, plank pose. All right, from here, we're going to inhale forward. Exhale, chaturanga or all the way down. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips lift. All right, we're going to add on a little bit here. So inhale, we're going to lift the right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot in between your hands. We're going to drop the left knee to the mat. And we're going to find a twist here. So lifting the right hand up, left hand on the mat. And then we'll bring the right hand down. Lift that left knee up, step the right foot back, and either move through a flow or back downward facing dog. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Moving with your breath. Inhales and the exhales. All right, now we'll lift the left leg on your inhale. Exhale, step that left foot in between your hands. Lower the right knee down. Find your twist here. So your left hand comes up. Yeah, awesome. Left hand down. Lift the back knee, step back through plank, and either move through a flow or back to downward facing dog. All right, from downward facing dog, we're going to roll into a plank pose, and we're going to find a side plank. So your heels are going to roll to the right. Your right hand will be down. Your left hand will lift up. You can take a modified side plank too with your right knee down. Whatever version feels good. You can lift your left leg. Yogi's choice. In this plank, we're lifting our left hip towards the ceiling, reaching with our left fingertips. One more inhale. Exhale, left hand to the mat, high plank. Chaturanga. Up dog on the inhale. Down dog on the exhale. All right. Roll forward into plank. Heels drop to the left this time. Right hand reaches up. Right hip is lifting up. So it's like that left hip is lifting as far away from the mat as possible. You have a nice strong left arm pushing the mat away. Remembering to breathe. One more inhale. Exhale, plank. Either move through a flow or we'll meet in downward facing dog and then eventually a child's pose. So coming back to your breath, we've built some heat now. So your heart rate might be elevated, might be breathing a little bit faster. See if you can bring your breath back down. All right, from here, we'll meet back in a downward facing dog when you're ready, taking your time. We're gonna inhale, lift the right leg behind you, three-legged dog. Exhale, step that right foot right behind the right thumb at the front of the mat. We're gonna come into a crescent lunge, so a high lunge. So that back left heel will stay lifted. Yeah, using your core to bring yourself up. And take a look at your front knee. You want your knee over your ankle. And that right leg, that right quad is rotating towards the outside of the leg. That really just means that we're keeping our knee from falling in. So you want your knee to sort of line up with the second and third toe. And your back left leg, think of that left hamstring as reaching up towards the ceiling. In all of our standing poses, you want to think of your legs as trying to push through the mat, push through the floor. Really nice, strong legs, strong leg bones. All right, from here, we're going to step to the top of the mat and find chair pose. So sort of step up that left foot to meet the right. Yeah, and find your chair. So in your chair pose, your weight is in your heels. Your tailbone is pointing down towards the mat. So it's like your hip pointers are tilted up towards the ceiling and your tailbone is tilting down towards the mat. Your legs are engaged. Your arms are alongside your ears. One more inhale. Exhale, release, fold it forward. We're gonna hang out in this forward fold for a couple of breaths. So you might find a little bit of space in between your feet. You might have a little bend in your knees. Nice heavy head, long neck. All right, on your next inhale, we'll halfway lift. Hands to shins or quads. Exhale, plant the palms. And either find your high plank in your flow, or we'll step back to downward facing dog. All right, from our down dog, we're gonna do crescent lunge on the other side. So your left leg will lift. Yeah, and then step it right behind that left thumb. Yeah, use your core, lift that upper body up. Wonderful. Yeah, so again, the back heel is lifted. It's a high lunge. All right, and then from there, we'll step up to chair pose. And if you're wanting a spicier chair pose, you can lift your heels coming onto your toes. Probably have a leg shake there. One more inhale, exhale, fold forward. This time we're gonna grab opposite hand to opposite elbow And you might find some movement, find some swaying. Just release through the back. Again, a bend in the knees is fine. I know I have very tight hamstrings from sitting a lot these days. All right, so on your next inhale, release your arms, find your halfway lift, and make your way through your flow, or step back to downward dog. Breathing here in this down dog, coming back to home base. All right, from here, we're gonna lift the right leg behind us. And we're gonna bring our knee forward towards our nose. Yeah, forward to plank, and then stretch the right leg long, three-legged dog. Inhale, exhale, step that right foot in between the hands. Left heel spins flat. We're coming into warrior two pose. Yeah, so your right heel intersects at your left arch. Your legs are spread enough so that your right knee is over your right ankle. Again, with that outward rotation of the quad, protecting your knee. And then for your back leg, you're really thinking of that back, that left, the outside of the left foot, the edge of the outside of the left foot, really pressing into the mat, almost so that the left arch lifts a little bit. Yeah, nice long arms. Shoulder blades moving down the back, so shoulders away from the ears. Excellent. From here, we're going to inhale, flip the palm, reverse your warrior. Nice side stretch. And then we'll come back to warrior two. We're gonna straighten that right front leg. And as if somebody's pulling your right hand, you're gonna move your right hand forward and down for triangle pose. So bending at the hip, bringing your hand down to either to the mat or to your ankle or somewhere on your shin. And you wanna think of stacking your shoulders here and stacking your hips. Now that's the ideal, and most of us aren't built like, you know, those like artist, what are those little things called? Those little mannequin things that you can bend their joints any way you want. Our bodies aren't built like that. So I can try all I want, but I don't know that my left hip will ever be on top of my right hip. It's just an idea that you're moving towards. So it's a heart opener here, reaching up. And then we'll come back up. So you have warrior two arms. You're gonna bring your right toes facing the long side of the mat. We're gonna come into a wide angle forward fold. So hands on the hips, hinging at the hips, folding forward. Your toes are pointing a little bit in. Breathing some space into those hamstrings. Again, here your head is heavy, your neck is long. All right, from here, you're gonna walk your hands to the right towards the top of the mat, framing that right foot. And you'll step your right foot back to the back of the mat, high plank, and either move through a flow or meet in down dog. Coming back to your breath here. Yeah, think of your hips lifting, your hands pushing the mat away. You have a little bit of an outward rotation of those biceps. And then we'll lift the left leg on an inhale. Exhale, left knee to the nose, coming forward into a plank. Inhale, stretch the leg long, three-legged dog. Exhale, step your foot forward, find your warrior two on this side. So remembering all those cues from the other side. It's like your feet are on a tightrope here. So your left heel this time intersects with your right arch. And think about your core for a minute. Think about the stability it needs to hold up your torso, to keep you balanced, to keep your legs balanced. Nice long arms. Steady breath. All right, from here, you're gonna flip your left palm and reverse your warrior on this side. Yeah, trying to keep that same warrior two knee. So your knee is still over your ankle. It's just your arm and your torso that's moving back. All right. Awesome. We'll come back to warrior two. We're going to straighten the left leg and then pulling forward, hinging at the hips, finding your triangle pose on this side. So again, thinking of, it's almost like you want to imagine that your body is going to be in between two panes of glass. Or what they told us at our yoga teacher training is like you're going to be like in the slot of a toaster. It's like you want to be flat, I guess, for lack of a better word. So just hugging everything in towards center, stacking the hips, stacking the shoulders. And then we'll come back up to center. You'll turn your left toes to the long side of the mat, hands to hips. We're going to find our forward fold on this side. And on this side, we're going to take a couple of twists. So you're going to put your hand down on the floor, your right hand underneath your face down on the floor, and you're going to open up, lifting the left hand, twisting from the middle of your back. So we have this tendency to want to twist from our lower back in this pose. So you want to imagine that you're putting like a teacup or like a plate right there, like on the table. So you're twisting from your mid back, your thoracic spine. And then we'll switch sides so the left hand comes down. Right hand peels open, finding some space between the collarbones. All right, we'll bring that, I think, are we on the right or the left? Whatever hand is up, we're gonna bring it down. We're gonna walk our hands to the left towards the front of the mat. You're gonna frame your foot, step back to plank, and either move through your flow or just lift the hips back to down dog. Sort of choose your heat level tonight. All right. Okay, from here, we're gonna move into some more crescents. This time we're gonna twist in our crescent lunges. So we'll move back to the right side. So lifting that right leg up on the inhale. Exhale, step that foot in between the hands. You're gonna find your crescent lunge. So build from the mat up. Nice strong legs, and then when you're ready to lift up, this way. All right, so our hands are lifted. We're gonna bring our hands to heart center. Do it this way. And then your left hand is gonna come to the outside of your right knee. So we're still thinking of those crescent legs here. So that back hamstring is still lifting up. You're pressing through that back lifted heel. You're pressing your hands together. And the idea is the more you press, the deeper your twist will get. You're welcome to stay here, or if you want to open your arms, spread your wings. Keeping that back leg strong. We tend to want to dump all of the weight into our front leg. See if your left leg can take on some of the weight here. One more inhale. Exhale, come back to center. Lift up. We're going to step back into a chair pose. And then fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, strong back. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank pose. Move through your flow or through downward facing dog. All right, let's twist our crescent on the other side. So left leg lifts on the inhale. Exhale, we step forward. Build your base. We lift on an inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll inhale, and then on the next exhale, you're going to twist. So right elbow to the outside of the left knee this time. And we're twisting our spine the same way that we were twisting in that forward fold twist. You really want to think of it as coming from the middle of your back, not your lumbar spine, not your lower spine. Pressing the palms together, strong legs. Remember, your feet are pushing through the mat. And then again, you can stay here or spread your wings. All right, we'll come back to center. You can come back to your prayer hands and then lift the arms. We're going to step up for one more chair pose. Yeah, balancing here. And then fold it forward. And in this forward fold, we're going to find gorilla pose. So you can step on your hands with your toes massaging the palms of your hands, the inside of your wrists. If this is too much, which it is for a lot of us, you can take your two peace fingers and grab your big toes, and then just try to deepen your fold that way. And a micro bend in the knees is always a good idea. We all have different flexibility in our hamstrings, and there's only so much of that you can change. Our anatomy is our anatomy. All right, one more inhale and exhale, and we'll release our hands. We're gonna make our way through one last flow. We still have a little bit of standing poses, but we're not gonna be flowing as much. So planting your palms on the mat, finding your plank pose, moving through your flow, or meeting in downward facing dog if you'd like to skip this. All right, from down dog, we're gonna lift our right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, step your right foot behind that right thumb. This time we're stepping into warrior one, our first warrior one actually. So your left toes are pointing towards the top left corner of your mat. You have enough space in between your feet so you feel stable. So instead of being on a tightrope, you're more on train tracks. Your fingertips are lifting, shoulder blades sliding down your back, arms alongside the ears, knee over your ankle, and coming back to your breath. And then from here, we're gonna clasp our hands at our lower back. We're gonna open up through the heart center. Inhale, and then exhale, humble warrior. Fold forward. So your right shoulder is coming to the inside of your right knee. Your head is moving towards the mat. You're breathing. And again, think of using that left leg to hold some of the weight. Not all the weight has to be in your right leg, in your right foot. One more inhale. We're going to release the hands. We're going to heel toe the right foot towards the edge of the mat. We're going to come into a lizard pose. So you can keep your leg lifted here, or if you want, your left knee can come down to the mat. If you have a block or a bolster or a pillow or something that you can rest your forearms on, you can do that. You can keep your arms straight. Or if you have the space, you can, and I mean the space in your body, you can come down to the mat. Just finding a stretch here. Bringing your awareness to the parts in your muscles that feel tight, and a reminder that none of this should hurt. So if it's hurting, back off. Stretching does not equal pain. Sensation, yes. Pain, no. A couple more breaths here in this pose. All right, from here, you're going to straighten out your arms. You can heel toe your foot back towards the center if that feels like a more solid place to step back to downward facing dog. So you're going to lift your back leg, step back to plank maybe. Lift your hips, downward dog. And then from here, inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it forward. Find your warrior one on this side. So your right foot's about at 2 o'clock. Towards the back of your mat. Your left toes are pointing forward. Your hips are rotating towards both hip bones pointing forward. But again, most of our bodies aren't built to be that exact. And that back edge of your right foot is pushing down towards the mat. Really strong legs, hugging into the leg bones. And then we'll clasp our hands at our lower back. Open up through the heart center. Exhale, fold it forward. Humble warrior. Coming back to your breath. Release your hands. Heel toe that left foot out towards the edge of the mat. Find your lizard pose on this side. So back leg lifted or knee on the mat. Arms straight or forearms resting on the mat or a block or a pillow or whatever you have at your house. A little stack of books would work. Couple more breaths here. You're going to begin to lift out of this lizard pose, making your way to downward dog. And then eventually onto your back. So if you want to skip the whole transition situation and just make your way onto your back, that works too. You can bring your knees down to your mat. Yeah, making our way onto our backs. So we're going to do 2 bridge poses. So as you're ready, you're just going to set up for your first bridge pose. So the soles of your feet are on the mat. Your feet are about sits bones width. So your butt bones, they're lined up with your sits bones. And then your feet are as close to your glutes as they need to be in order to lift up and have straight shins. Your arms can either be pressing down, palms down. You can do robot arms where the back of your triceps are pressing in to the mat. Or you can lift up and interlace your fingers, taking the bind underneath your hips. So yeah, as you're ready, lifting the hips, finding your arm variation. A little tuck in the chin, not too much, but you want your neck to be long. And you want to think of your heart center moving towards the back of your mat and your shins moving towards the top of your mat, if that makes sense. One more inhale, exhale, release. Windshield wiper those legs. And we'll do one more bridge as you're ready. Lifting up. Hold it for about 5 to 7 breaths on your count. And then as you release, we'll meet in Supta Baddha Konasana or reclined bound ankle. So the soles of the feet come together, the knees open wide. One hand on the heart center, one hand on the belly. So it's like your legs are making a diamond shape. And I wanted to read a little passage from the book Consolations by David White. It's a passage on courage. Courage is a word that tempts us to think outwardly, to run bravely against opposing fire, to do something under besieging circumstance, and perhaps, above all, to be seen to do it in public, to show courage, to be celebrated in story, rewarded with medals, given the accolade. But a look at its linguistic origins is to look in a more interior direction and towards its original template, the old Norman French cœur or heart. Courage is the measure of our heartfelt participation with life, with another, with a community, a work, a future. To be courageous is not necessarily to go anywhere or do anything except to make conscious those things we already feel deeply, and then to live through the unending vulnerabilities of those consequences. To be courageous is to seat our feelings deeply in the body and in the world, to live up to and into the necessities of relationships that often already exist, with things we find we already care deeply about, with a person, a future, a possibility in society, or with an unknown that begs us on and always has begged us on. To be courageous is to stay close to the way we are made. All right, from here, we're gonna hug our knees into our chest. And you might make circles on the ceiling with your knees, massaging your lower back. All right, and then hug those knees in. We're gonna drop our knees to the right. Our arms will come out to a T, and we'll look over our left shoulder for a spinal twist. From the inside, it can feel like confusion. Only slowly do we learn what we really care about and allow our outer life to be realigned in that gravitational pull. With maturity, that robust vulnerability comes to feel like the only necessary way forward, the only real invitation, and the surest, safest ground from which to step. On the inside, we come to know who and what and how we love and what we can do to deepen that love. Only from the outside and only by looking back does it look like courage. We'll come back to center, hugging the knees in towards the chest. And then you'll drop your knees to the left, looking over the right shoulder, finding your spinal twist on this side. We'll come back to center, giving yourself one more hug, and then you'll stretch your legs long, arms come a little out to the side, and you'll find your Savasana. Begin to make small movements. It can be as small as just deepening your breath. You might slowly move the fingers and the toes, signaling to your body that it's going to be time to move again. When you're ready, you'll roll to one side. Using your bicep as a pillow, take a pause there. Give your body a chance to catch up from the stillness. And then as you're ready, we'll meet in an easy seat. We'll bring our hands to the heart center, either in prayer hands or piled on top of each other. And just take a moment to come back to your intention if you made one. And see if there's a part of that intention you can carry with you for the rest of the evening. Maybe you can thread it throughout the week. We'll bow forward in gratitude of this practice. And thank you so much for practicing with me tonight.